goes.
Here we go. Uh, okay.
All
Uh,
right. We're live.
yes, I believe we are. I had a few interesting messages there. Um, I don't know if we are on Facebook, but we're going to give it a shot.
Okay. We'll see. I'll go over and check us out.
Okay. Good afternoon, Crystal. How are you?
I'm well. And yourself? Happy New Year. Hope your holiday was wonderful. Mine was restful.
Oh, my holiday was great. I'm, every milestone, be it a new year, a birthday, I'm always grateful that I'm here because some of my friends did not make it to be this old to be here in this time. So, other than that, I'm very, very thankful, very, very glad.
Same here.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people
Although I do have
didn't
to
make
say
it.
that I'm also cheap. So you see me here dressed in my coat because I'm too cheap to turn the heat on. So I have my issues.
You have your issues. My nephew gave me a little small little heater. Our place is too big to heat the whole entire place because
Okay.
and the
Okay.
ceilings are way too high.
I
So
see.
we bundle up a lot over here too.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
easier.
Nice. There you go. No shame in that game. No shame in that game. Uh,
Not at all.
Well, we have an exciting year ahead of us. I'm just jazzed that we were able to complete last year and super jazzed that we get to work together for this year. So let's jump in because you gave me a great article to review, and I'm
Okay.
super excited about it. It's all about um, why is my money, my 401k, not growing fast like wealthy people's, and that's as you know that is pretty clear right up my alley talking about that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll read your bio, and many people suggest that I should recite your bio. By now, you would think I would know the bio, but I, I don't. So I'm just going to read it. So here we
All
go.
right. Sounds good.
Hello, everyone. Please welcome my friend and colleague, Crystal Mitchell. She is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO for Mitchell Business Solutions, co director of Recycling Black Dollars. She's also the co host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. That's another weekly online radio show. She's a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist, and I forgot one, she's also an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. And yourself?
Like I said, fine as frog's hair.
All
Are you
right.
ready to jump into this year, this new topic?
I am. Let's rock it.
Cool, let's do it. Okay, so the title for the show, and for those of you who want to know where to find us, we have our little email down there on the banner, and I'm about to get on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. So hopefully you can connect with us there. And our article that we reviewed for today is along the lines of why is my 401k not growing fast like wealthy people? I thought that was a very interesting,
Good question.
yeah, very good question. Very good question. And as you know, there are about 4 to 5, maybe 6 real reasons for that. We're going to talk about the top 3 that I see as a retirement plan advisor.
Okay.
Okay. So, number one, many people don't check their old accounts.
Mm,
So, what we see is, and you have to be careful here because some advisors, I shouldn't say that, but some advisors take advantage of that situation. So an
mm.
advisor can't help you with an account that you don't talk to them about, right? So they may not encourage you to bring your accounts, your old accounts, into a place where they can help you manage them. So what we often see is folks who move around a little bit. And let's face it, even back when I was in school, people moved jobs every 3 or 4 years. It wasn't
Mhm.
uncommon for a person to have 6 or 7 careers in their working history, their
Right.
working path. So often people leave those 401k assets where they are. And I'm not going to tell you that they're not continuing to grow, because they are. They're still invested in the market. As long as it's your plan, it cannot be taken away from you. So the pressure that you're going to lose that, and we can talk about in that one situation where that happens.
Hmm.
But for the most part, the chances that you're going to lose that are pretty slim. So just because you leave a company doesn't mean that they hang on to your retirement plan. So that money is not lost to you. And so what we find is that people don't move those assets into their new plan, right? They think that they think that money is lost. Well, it is not. It is still in the market. It still belongs to you, and you definitely want to make sure that you manage that just like you manage the planet you're in. And I would say for most Americans that I deal with, for
Hmm.
most Americans, it's it's better that they actually move those assets into their current plan or move the assets into an IRA. And whether you have someone like myself who's a retirement plan advisor help you manage that, or you have a wealth advisor help you manage it, put it in a place, one place, or two places where you can manage it according to what your level of risk is and your needs are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So you just can't leave it. And I think most people do think, oh, well, I'll just leave it over there and it'll continue to do whatever it's going to do, right? But they're not managing it. They don't know what it's doing. So if if the plan manager is not being, you know, attentive, then your your plan is just going to sit there and do whatever is happening for the whole of that particular company, right?
Most definitely. And that's another point to bring out. Um, Often, when I move a plan from uh, one particular carrier to another carrier, we usually have two choices as to where that money is going to go. Usually, we put that money into, right after the transition, usually we put that money into what they call a QDIA, a qualified default investment alternative.
Uh-huh.
And that's just a place where if you don't make a decision as to where the money is going to go, then it goes in there. I
Oh.
like moving plans into the QDIA. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Often that's a target date fund, but remember, I've only been doing this for the last, I don't know, 15 or 20 years. So if you were working and you had a plan before the QDIA, which is, I think, what most advisors use now,
Mm-hmm.
and in general, that's a target date fund.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had a 401k before that, it may have been moved into a money market account,
Mm.
which is usually kind of like a safe place for people to move things. And I hate using that word safe. Let's call it a non volatile place, a
Right.
very, very non volatile place. Usually, interesting, I did not use stable. Let's say non-volatile. And I did not use safe. It's a non-volatile place. So your money just sits there. So you may think that your money is growing because you had it in a certain group of investments,
Mm-hmm.
but since they moved the plan to a different place, it's very possible that your money is not in that group of investments. It's in that money market fund or that very safe bond fund or that very safe, ooh, I said it again, that very, see, sometimes I get caught, that very non volatile fund. So it is not doing what the market does, it is not increasing, it is just sitting there in that fund. And this happens particularly, it used to happen even more often, but particularly when the company gets sold,
Mm.
right? So, or when the company moves plans. So, uh, to make sure that your money is staying safe inside the retirement plan, right? It's not being lost or anything like that. There's an accounting, and the advisor and the plan sponsor, they choose where to put your money, right?
Mm.
So they'll put your money into a money market fund, or they'll put your money into a QDIA. The long and short of it is, it's not where you thought it was, right? So that could be affecting your growth. Now, I'm going to get a bunch of cards and letters from folks that say, hey, what if we move our money in kind? And you can do that, you know. If you're going to transfer the assets of the plan, if you're the plan sponsor and you're going to transfer the assets of the plan, it is very possible to move those assets into move them in kind, right? But
Mm,
that doesn't always happen. And as an advisor, I'm really not a big fan of that. And I'll tell you why.
mm.
Uh, your money doesn't leave the market, it stays where it is. But as an advisor, I don't always get the chance to talk with those participants to make sure they reevaluate where they are, and that they make sure that the the risk tolerance is being followed according to their particular needs. So I like to move the money into some type of money market account. That's what my preference is.
Okay.
Um, so that people have to talk to me. I want to talk to participants. I want to show them what's up. In my larger plans, where there's, I don't know, a couple hundred people there, and I don't get a chance to talk to them about the transition, in
Mm-hmm.
those situations, then a QDIA happens. But that's still an opportunity for you to talk to your retirement plan advisor to make sure that that's the right fund for you. So the long and short of it is, people forget their old accounts and they think that they're growing, or they think that they're lost,
Ah,
and that's just not the case. So that's
and they
number
really.
one, the old
Mm,
accounts. Wealthy people, they don't do that. Wealthy people call me before the accounts move. They call me after the accounts move. They make sure where it was and where it is. And they ask me, all right, what am I supposed to do now? That's what wealthy people do. Or they talk to their advisor that guides them, right?
right.
They don't just forget about that. And wealthy people, they know where the money is. They're not forgetting. They're not saying, well, I had something. They're not doing that. They're saying, where my money? Let me move it. Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's one. Don't forget your old accounts. Number two, this is my favorite, of course, and that is, wealthy people increase their contributions every chance they get. So I talk to lots of folks and they say, well, I'm going to get a raise. So that means I can afford my 401k. Stop right there. Right. If you get a raise, that's great. More money goes into your plan. If you get a raise, that's great. That means maybe you can put a little bit more in. Maybe you can go from 1% to 2%, right? Wealthy people increase their contributions. People who leave their money there, they just leave it there. There's no money going into that plan. They're not taking advantage of market downturns. They're not taking advantage of market upturns. That
Mm,
money sort of like hoping and praying a big return comes. And you know, I've said it here before, we make money in a 401k when the market goes down, and we're able to take advantage of that. We don't make money when the market goes up. We make money when the market goes down, right?
right.
Kind of like buying your house. You make money when you buy cheap.
Right.
That's that's number two. Have you heard this before? Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, kind of, but I'm one of those that stay on top of my money. So,
That's true. That's true. That is very true. We're happy about that. We are happy about that. I need as many taxpayers as I can get. The last thing that I would say, as to why it is that wealthy people grow their assets faster, I'm just going to say bit, that why they grow them faster than people who are not wealthy, is they don't take withdrawals,
mm,
right? They don't say, hey, I need to pay for Bebe's birthday party. I'm going to take some money out of my 401k plan and do that. They don't say that. Or, like when I was very new in the retirement world, I went to see I was actually working at a, I was actually working on the 403b side, where we would go to hospitals and universities and nonprofit organizations. And I got a chance to talk with a couple who were actually working together at the same university,
mm-hmm,
and one of them remarked to me that one side of the couples was more for investments, for their retirement, And the other side, they would say, well, as soon as we don't want that thing to have too much money because we want to spread our assets around. So we only let it get so high. And then we take the money out and we go somewhere, we do something with it because we don't want it to get too big. And I think their thinking was that since it was a company sponsored plan,
Mm-hmm.
they were afraid of the organization knowing what they were doing with that money. Right?
But
It's a,
isn't that a very confidential asset that you have with the company? I mean, they kind of know what your balances are when they do their audits, I would think. But what you're doing with it, how will they know that? Or will they know
I'm going to say we give a gold star to the lady in pink. You are spot on. That
that?
organization has no care at all what you have. They're not looking. They don't want to. They don't want to. They don't want to know. They're
Okay.
not trying to find out. It's your money, and you do it with it what you want. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. Most of the HR people I know, they're like, I don't know. I don't know. And I myself, people even get mad at me because I don't want to know about your money. I do not want to know how much you got, where you live, I don't want to know. I don't
Right.
want to know. I
Right.
don't want the I don't want the liability.
Right.
So just like with this show, we never give specific advice. We always give guidance. Right? So don't take early withdrawals. Don't, don't do that.
you know, a couple weeks ago or before the holiday, we met with we had a guest, and one of the things I was saying when we were talking to our guests was people get so much information from the people that are not specialists or have the experience in the areas that they need questions on. They go ask, the person on the corner, the person up the street, somebody else who has a pension plan being ministered by somebody else, as opposed to going to the people that are actually the ones maintaining your particular plan. And so I think a lot of times that's what happens. Somebody said that to them somewhere along the line. It may
Yeah.
not even have been for the plan. It may have been
Yep.
for, sometimes they tell you, you don't keep X amount of more dollars in your bank account because it's FDIC
Yeah. Insured.
protected
Sure.
up until $250,000, right? So they
Yeah.
get all that information misconstrued,
Yeah.
and then they think it's for everything. That's been in my experience with individuals that I coach, and it's like,
That's a good
where did you
point.
get that information from? Who told you that?
You're so right. And it's not just this field, it all kinds of stuff. I myself is guilty of it. I have a really, really good friend in the medical field who knows all about your health. And, well, I mean, I don't know all about it, but she knows a lot.
Uh-huh.
She's a, not only is she nice and kind and have a wonderful bedside manner, but she's
Hmm.
smart and knows a bunch about all kinds of things in the
Right.
medical field and sees patients on a regular basis. Teleporting, telemark, what do you, by the telephone,
Uh-huh.
Zoom, and in
Yeah.
person. I mean, she's one of those people, right? So I'll
Hmm.
go to YouTube and ask information. Like, that's the stupidest thing. I could just call her up and ask her, but no, right? I have a friend in the business and I just go right to YouTube or, whatever. They don't, they're just giving general info,
Yeah,
so
right, exactly. It happens all the time.
stuff
Even
like
in business, people will go, "No, I'll just wing it, and if I have a question, I'll call you."
that.
Okay,
Exactly.
wing
Exactly.
it, wing it
Wing it.
while you start this business.
Yes. There you
I've
go.
been doing this for 30 years, but I don't know. I must not know anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
So go ahead and wing it. I'll be
Okay.
here. I'll be
There you
here when it's time for you to
there
ask
you
the
go.
real questions
When you gotta pay.
when
You
you
have to
got
pay.
paid.
Usually that's how it goes. Okay, so our main three. Number one, don't forget your old accounts.
Hmm.
Keep keep an eye on those. Move those to where they have a mix that looks like yours.
Hmm.
This looks like it's appropriate for you.
Yeah,
Number
right.
two, increase your contributions. right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't let that just stay where it is there. Don't take out the raise and not use that to increase your contributions. Use
Mm-hmm.
that raise if you get it. Number three, do not take early withdrawals, right? If you can help it. Stuff happens, we get that. Sometimes you need to take a loan. That's better than taking the money out. At least if you pay the loan back
Mm-hmm.
with interest, you're paying
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Right.
So think about loaning from your 401k plan if you can, rather than from the bank. And the I'm not suggesting that people do that because I think leaving that money in the market is the key. But at least if you're paying the money back, you are making some interest. You are paying yourself the interest.
Mm.
Nobody's making money on the interest that you pay back in a 401k loan, except the participant, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I would say, and this is the tough one, um, it's you got to plan for future expenses, right? And I know
Mm.
that's tough when you're 25, when you're 35, when you're 45, even when you're 55. It's tough to plan for what's going to happen. And that's why we're here in retirement, because we don't know how much you're going to need. We do know that you need something,
Right.
and we do know that you need more next year than you did last year, right? So you can't really say to your parents, well, how much did you have? And yeah, it's tough. So what I would do is, and what I strongly suggest you heed and listen to, what wealthy people do is they keep up with what their needs are going to be, and then they adjust their savings to get there, right? So they take a look at the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
The ultra wealthy, I don't know about. I don't know what Elon Musk does for retirement, but most of the other wealthy people I know, they look at their mix of investments, the amount that they're contributing, and they come up with what they're going to need for retirement. And every mutual fund company I know has that kind of um, calculator for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can play around with it. So I would
Mm-hmm.
suggest that at least once a year, please take a look at that calculator, determine what it is you're going to need for retirement. I guarantee you, it's not what it was 5 years ago.
Right.
And then throw in the mix. Take a look at your family history. Do you have parents on either side that has a major disease? Do you have children that you're going to want to visit in, um, you know, the grandkids and that kind of thing? Do you have that kind of thing? Throw that in the mix, and you want to keep doing that. And that number is going to either go up or not necessarily. It may not. Something might happen to where you don't like your children anymore and you don't want to visit them in retirement. It could happen. I don't know. It could happen. I know when I was in high school, I think my parents might have had some doubts about me, like whose kid is he? Anyway, so um,
Oh.
plan plan for those future expenses. And so that's what I would say. Those big three, and then take that calculator and reevaluate every time you can.
And I also think that obviously wealthy people are they're consumed with how money their money, right? And they have several advisors, and they have their stock advisors. They're not necessarily doing anything with their advisors, the people that they have on pay, telling them you need to do this, and then they sit down on a regular basis and have conversations with them to review where they are, where they're going to go. And I do think wealthy people, they have wills and trusts, and other things that are in place that there is no question, because they have way too much just to leave it to chance. Not to say that sometimes that doesn't happen, but generally they're much more cognizant on planning for the future, and whenever retirement is, if there even is a retirement. For some of them, they never retire. I mean, look at the was it Murdoch? He keeps telling his sons and his family he retired. I think when he retires is when he takes that last breath. But you know, in the meantime, they're all fighting over what he has. But and that's one of the reasons they have to make sure that they're planned, because what they're leaving behind is usually allocated to somebody, and then of course there's always kind of family things going on. So
Yeah, you're making a very good point. I do talk to a lot of people who I would, if I had a chance to, I would talk with their parents and say, you might want to check that oatmeal every now and then just to make sure it doesn't have the smell of almonds or anything like that in there, because your children are talking about you.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
they're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, they are.
The only thing I would add to that, I think it's a corollary to what you're saying, though, is that I think you made the point really well, actually, and that is that wealthy people think about this. They don't just put this aside and wake up one day and go, "Hey, there's lots more money in there than I thought I did." They plan every year. They don't plan every month, not that I know of.
Mm-mm.
They plan every year, at least, maybe every half a year, as to what move they need to make next. Every time they make a change in their life, if they change a job, if they get a new spouse, if their kids go to college, if whatever, if they have a new child or something like that, right? All the wealthy people that I know, they gather their advisors around and say, okay, now that this has happened in my life, what do I need to do? So they're constantly, as you said, I think it's a great reminder, they're constantly connected with their advisors to say, okay, how does that make this look? What should I do? And so they're constantly thinking about it. They're not worried about it. It's not like they're saying, it's not like they're
Mm-mm.
pulling their hair out of their head,
Mm-mm.
but they are cognizant that that's something they need to do. And if there's one thing that um, I see amongst folks who I work with, I'll put it that way, and many of the folks I work with, not all of them, but many of
Mm-hmm.
the folks I work with, they pretty much like the idea of fire and forget. You know, I'm a big fan of a target date fund if you don't want to learn about the market. I
Right.
don't I think learning about the market, learning about your effect or how it affects you, I think that's the best thing you can do with regard to finance. But if you're not going to do that, a target date fund is a great way to go. But you still have to watch it. You
Yeah.
still have to be involved. And so um, I think you're spot on. Gather your advisors around you. Don't just forget about it. Don't worry about it. That's not going to do you any good. But don't forget about it.
Right. And I think tax there for them, the taxes is what drives them, is because wealthy people try to pay as minimal tax as possible, and they have to do that through planning, right? They have to make sure at the end of the year. So a lot of their planning goes starts about October, when they start to decide where this money has to go before the 31st of the year, to make sure when they file their taxes or whatever their fiscal year is, we got to have conversations now, because I got to make sure, if I sold something with capital, there's just a lot of moving parts for them, and most of their drivers is, I need to pay as minimum amount of taxes as possible. So what do I need to do? So that's why they have a lot more conversations than the average human being, because
Yeah,
our
I think
taxes
you're.
are taxes, right? So
Yeah, I think you're right. And I would only add two things to that, and that would be one, the IRS, the code, the tax code, is designed for business owners.
right.
If you think about it, the only thing that the government can do for you with regard to your taxes is decrease them. And the only way they can decrease them is if you own a business, right? That's why they give you so many write offs when you own a
Mm-hmm.
business, so they can reward you for that. So you got to keep that in mind. If you're a W 2 employee and that's all you have going for you, you're going to pay the most in taxes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
unfortunately, if you're a W 2 employee and you're not making a huge salary, you're going to pay the most of your income
In
in
taxes,
taxes
right?
than anybody
Exactly.
else. So
Right.
that's a big thing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot what I was going to say about the other thing. The other
Well,
thing.
that's basically what it is,
Oh,
and
oh, oh! I know what I was going to say. Sorry to interrupt you. Um, I was going to say that while what you're saying is very important, people start early in the year to say, okay, I want to pay as least as possible. Last year hurt. I don't want to do that again. So how do I get on top of this thing? But I really think that wealthy people, the wealthy people that I know, they start having those conversations when their children are in high school or college, right? You have some assets. We're going to go and talk with someone and make sure that's taken and make sure that you know what's up. That's what wealthy people do. Most wealthy people, if they're not ultra wealthy, they start learning about that early in their lives, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something about a kid being a kid, I have a problem with that. Something about people being free, certainly have no problem with that. But most parents that want to protect their kids, they arm them.
Yeah.
And we see it, when people want to transition the business. We see how they know what their kids are like. We see business owners that say, my number, I got three sons. The first one, no, he's
Right.
not a business person. The
Right.
second one,
Exactly. Uh-huh.
he hates me. I don't know what he's going to do. The third one, oh, now that's the guy that's going to work and take care of himself, but they don't want to have anything to do with me or whatever that situation is, right?
Right.
So they have those conversations. They introduce those people in their 20s, sometimes in their teens. Non-wealthy people, they don't do that.
They don't do that. They just let it. They think
They
that
just let it ride.
if they're gonna learn about it when they get to college, I guess. It was funny.
Or they don't know.
They don't know. I was with one of my girlfriends. Her daughter's going into this is her first year of college, and so she came home for the holidays. And so last night she posted. She goes, "So we're the family. The daughter's leaving tomorrow morning. So we're having our budget meeting before she goes back to school." To review what we spent over that first semester, that first quarter, and so to prepare her for the second quarter. That's what needs to happen because that's the only way your children learn is you and understanding that you know dollars count, and so planning it out is important. So I think that was excellent. I chuckled. I said, "Well, now that's the way one's supposed to send their children off to college. Let's have monthly budget meetings." Quarterly budget meetings.
Crystal, you are so spot on as usual. You are so spot on. I don't even want to say nothing behind that. That is it. Monthly budget meetings. That is,
Right, exactly.
it don't get better than that, right?
It doesn't
Start in
get
high
better than
school.
that.
That's a great thing. I tell
No,
you what, we've come to a good time in the show here. So I'm going
right.
to read your bio,
Okay.
and I think unless you want to add something else, I think that was. I'm not going to say nothing on top of that. I think
That that
that's the
that's
one,
it.
right? The monthly budget meeting.
Yeah.
That's the kicker there. So everybody, please allow me to say thank you for coming. Also, thank you to my friend Crystal Mitchell. She is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, co-host of the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. That's another weekly radio show. She's
Hmm.
an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a
Hmm.
QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Crystal, always great to have you here with me on the patio. Conversations on the patio. Thank you so much. I gotta say it. Okay, give us your last word.
No, I just want. It's been great. We're back in for a new year, 2026. I like to say even years are my better years, so let's see if that works out that way. We started off with a bang, but I believe it's going to work out well. And make your plans, sit down, have a conversation about how you want the year to be, and not necessarily let the year plan itself. So again, back to the planning thing. So you guys have a great week. Happy New Year. We're all stumbling back in today on our very first day back from the holiday season. So we'll all work through this week together. So you guys have a great one.
Thank you very much, Crystal. This is Jevon Thomas for On the Patio, along with Crystal Mitchell. We'll see you next week. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.